So now we are going to make the mascarpone cheese frosting for tiramisu. So it's a coffee flavored mascarpone frosting. I have the mascarpone cheese and a bit of pastry cream. So the addition of pastry cream is going to make your mascarpone cheese taste much richer, and it is not going to be like any of the others who would be making the mascarpone cheese frosting. Obviously stability will be there. We are just adding the pastry cream, so it gives more richness to your cream. Okay, so that's a non-dairy whipping cream, and I use that because that is predominantly available for me. If you are in a place where dairy whipping cream is what is accessible to you, you could use that, but make sure you are not going to over whip it. Over whipping dairy whipping cream will lead to curdling of it. Butter will start just churning out if you are going to over whip the dairy whipping cream. Non-dairy, we could also whip beyond a point, beyond the stiff peak stage, and that's castor sugar that will go with whipping cream to get stiff peaks. Beyond the stiff peaks is what I am going to look at right now, because I am going to fold the cheese and the pastry cream mixture to that, and that's coffee powder to go along with the three. So in a separate bowl I am going to add the mascarpone cheese, the pastry cream and the coffee powder. Mix them and beat them well without any lumps, and then keep it separately. And in the stand mixer I am going to add the whipping cream, and I am going to add the sugar little at a time until I have it like over whipped cream, and then I am going to fold the both together. Why we have to over whip? Because if we have the whipping cream at the right stage and then we are going to fold it with the rest of the other components, the possibilities that your whipping cream, the final mascarpone cheese frosting, could just loosen down, and that we have to prevent, for which we over whip the cream. And over whipped cream tend to get dry. We know that that corn is there, but then we could bring it back by softening up and then getting rid of the air pockets, and the dryness will just come down, and then you will have a stable cream. At any time if you loosen the cream, you can never bring it back to the stable stage. But if you have an overly whipped cream, you could soften it and then just slowly bring it down to the stage you want to work. So always have it beyond the level of your stiff peaks in the whipped cream, so we can just have the control between how stiff we want to use it. And if you're going to loosen it, we will never be able to revive back, or you have to whip a fresh batch again. Okay, so I'm just going to keep the whipped cream aside. To this, adding the mascarpone cheese. Pastry cream. And coffee powder. Just going to beat this together. So this is done. I'm just going to set that aside. And now into the stand mixer, I'm just going to add the whipping cream. Just going to beat this and then slowly add the sugar a little at a time. I'm just going to check for the stiff peaks and see if we have to beat it a bit more. See, that's soft peaks, and then you'll just have to whip it a bit more like I said. But then if you have to use the whipping cream as it is without having to mix anything else into it, you can consider using it at this stage itself. I think we have the stage that we want. It looks stiffer and tight than before, right? So this one is done. To this, I'm just going to add the mascarpone and the pastry cream and coffee mixture into the whipped cream. Just add all of it in. And then just gently cut and fold so it combines. So just gently fold, and we are still retaining the stiffness and the shape, going back to soft peaks from where it was. And if that was by itself soft peaks, then by mixing the rest of the ingredients we will still lose the consistency. Now this looks good, and I'll just transfer this into a piping bag, and then I'll get back in the lesson where I will teach you how to use, fill and then layer the tiramisu.